It's time once again for a powerful mix of fitness, focus, and philosophy. Philosophy? That's right. Kick back and get ready for your host. Wisdom keeps her fit mentally, squats keep her fit and fine physically. Yes, I said fine. Tune in and prepare to challenge your body and your mind with Professor Kristen Hester. You'll think better, you'll live smartly, and all thanks to Kristen teaching us right now how to squat wisely. And now here's Professor Kristen Hester.
Welcome back to another episode of Squat Wisely. For this episode, I'm going to walk down memory lane a little bit. I launched my podcast in 2017. I have been very fortunate and thankful to meet a lot of great people, had some great insight and wisdom from episode to episode, and many of you have been with me ever since June of 2017. Now, I have over 30 episodes now, so I won't highlight all of the great takeaways because there were several, but this particular episode will highlight some wise moments that stood out. And if I leave out a wise moment with you, if you were on the show, it doesn't mean that it doesn't carry any weight. It's just that I can only do an episode for so long. But I am abundantly thankful for every guest that has been on the show. I am so thankful for every person who listens, and I hope that you'll enjoy some of these wise takeaways that I have pulled together for you for this episode.
Get a world-class motivational speaker to your next event. Kristen Hester offers professional speaking services in Atlanta, Georgia, and beyond. To hire Kristen, visit www.kristenspeaks.com. Kristen.
The next clip you'll hear will come from episode 6 that was titled The Corporate Yogini Ashley Adams. Well, she has since rebranded. She's still into yoga, but she goes by Yoga Mom Rebellion now. That is her podcast name as well. So when you listen to the wisdom that she shares, I want you to reflect on areas in your life, business-wise, where you are waiting on someone else to show up and take the lead, when actually the leading needs to come from you. I want to ask you, share with us a quote that has been profound in your eyes, and also explain to us the meaning of the quote from your perspective.
I got two for you.
Okay.
This is something I was thinking about today. So the first one is, nobody is coming, God sent you.
Wow.
And then the second one is, when people show you who they are, believe them. The first one, I don't know who to credit it to. I'm sorry, I'd have to look. I can send you that later. And then the second one is Maya Angelou. So the first one is, nobody is coming, God sent you. For me, I spent a lot of time looking for a savior, for whatever it was that I wanted to do, somebody to prop me up and bolster me and keep me going and be my cheerleader. And eventually I realized that, I can do those things on my own, that I don't need, 20 people behind me cheering me on, being my own fan club. I can do that myself.
Right, exactly.
And that I can push my business forward, that I can push myself forward, that I can move my family forward, and that I can do it on my own terms. And the best part about it is, I don't have to answer to anyone. I'm good enough. I am enough to answer to myself. I don't have to check in with the amen choir, as they say. So exactly. I can be my own person. And then secondly, when people show you who they are, believe them. How do I say this? There are many times where we give people many of chances, as opposed to just accepting them for what they're worth, because either we like to color who they are, or we just don't want it to be that way. Shonda Rhimes talks about in her book, Year of Yes, how she talks about putting story on something. So adding story to what this person is, creating an avatar as opposed to seeing them for what and who they are. And there's a lot of times that we do that as a coping mechanism for ourselves so we can feel better about whatever the situation is. Because then we can go, well, it's not as bad as I thought it was. I never knew so-and-so was racist. I never knew so-and-so was hateful. I never knew yes, you did. They show you this on a regular basis. You just opted not to take them at their word. So that's why when people show you who they are, believe them has resonated so much with me because sometimes I'm guilty of giving people the benefit of the doubt well over and beyond where I should have. Then I'm the one who harbors resentment, which is ridiculous because had I owned it from the beginning, I could have taken responsibility for the situation and put a stop to it. But I gave my power away to them and I allowed their behavior to continue. So then it creates this cycle of acceptance and allowance. But all of that is on me. It's not on them. So again, when people show you who they are, believe them.
The next clip you'll hear, it dives right into it. So it's like right at the meat of something that she's saying. It comes from episode 4 titled Mocha Talks Manifesting and More. When you listen to the wisdom that she is dropping in that clip, really reflect on maybe even some resolutions you've made about your health, your diet, your fitness, and ask yourself, are my actions leading me to the results I want, or are they leading me to the results that I don't want?
Stop eating meat. Stop eating dairy. Stop smoking cigarettes. All of that. Don't pollute your body anymore. Stop it. You are causing that illness in you. You know what I mean? That's you manifesting. You wanting that cigarette is manifesting that cancer in you, that illness in you, that diabetes, that stroke, whatever, that heart attack. Stop drinking liquor. Stop it. It's not good for you. What you need to do is manifest beauty, positivity. Literally close your eyes if that's what you need to do. And imagine there's green and brown all around you, trees and grass and plants and birds and blues and reds and sunshine and clean air and clean water. Imagine those things. And I'm telling you, anytime you have a negative thought, switch that negative thought to what you want, which is happiness, truth, health, beauty, longevity, in life. If you do that, the universe has absolutely no choice but to give you what you want. That's how this realm, this planet that we live on, that's how it works. Those are the laws of it. Whatever you want, you can have. So I don't always get exactly what I manifest. I always manifest what I get is a true statement. If you're living a miserable life, it's because you manifested it. I'm just saying. It's because you manifested it. If you live a happy, wonderful life, it's because you manifested it. You can sit here and manifest that you want a new car. You might not get that new car, but you might get a car that lasts you for a long time. That's what I mean. Like if you, whatever, you can't, like you can say what you want, but you might not get exactly what that is. You might not get exactly what you wanted, but you will get it. And it will help you in whatever you need. It will benefit you.
In 2017, we had the passing of Dick Gregory. He is considered a great teacher by many people. He is someone who was very big on health and diet, way before, being vegan or eating healthier was a trend. It's become more of a trend these days. But way before it was popular or a part of pop culture, Dick Gregory was schooling us just on the basics, like just drinking more water and being mindful of the things that we are putting inside of our bodies. A lot like the last clip you heard from Mocha. Well, I never got an opportunity to have Dick Gregory on the show. When I was starting my podcast, he was one of the people that I reached out to. And things were going kind of good, but, Dick Gregory is considered a legend, icon to a lot of people. And of course, he was, getting older anyway. And the family was just, a little bit more guarded with scheduling appointments for him. And he likes to do podcast interviews. If you go on YouTube, he has a bunch of them on there. So really, that's more of what he liked to do because he held back on his lecturing schedule. But he would still do interviews from time to time. But, it just never worked out that I was able to meet him. But I was very thankful to have Dr. Scott Whitaker on the show. And Dr. Scott Whitaker was fortunate enough to be, mentored by Dick Gregory and to just really be encouraged to produce the work that he is doing, some of the work that he talked about when he was on the show. But he left a quote inside of Dr. Whitaker's book. And I had Dr. Whitaker reflect on that. And coincidentally, around the time when I interviewed Dr. Whitaker, Dick Gregory was still alive. He was still with us. And shortly after I posted the interview with Dr. Scott Whitaker, Dick Gregory had passed on. So listen to Dr. Whitaker reflect on his memories and fond memories of Mr. Dick Gregory.
Well, your book, Medicine, Dick Gregory said about your book, he said, it is a book that should be right next to people's Bibles. When you heard about that, what were your thoughts?
Well, my sophomore year in college, Mr. Gregory I was at UC Berkeley. He came and, came to one of the Black affairs and spoke. And man, his lecture by itself, on top of just learning about back to Eden, was just like nail in the coffin. And my transformation even went even faster. And what's really amazing about that is, I look at him as a teacher, mentor, and then for him to, make a quote on my book was just an honor for someone who I saw in an audience. And then 20 years later, he's, making a quote on my book, which was phenomenal.
Well, I hope you are enjoying some of the wise moments from 2017. I hope the show is not too long for you today. We are getting a lot closer to the end. The next clip that I'm going to play comes from my interview with Dave Anderson, the business bully. And I have this clip last on purpose because the whole interview with Dave was awesome, but he said something really, really profound based on something that someone said to him. And you'll hear him unfold that shortly. If you didn't get a chance to hear that interview yet, you won't hear the whole thing, but you will hear a profound piece from that interview that I want you to think about as we begin 2018. So often we are so busy that we're too busy to notice the blessings. We're too busy to take in the reality that some of the opportunities that we now enjoy in the past were not that easy for us to enjoy. They were not even within reach. And so we're so busy moving on to the next and then moving on to the next that we forget about some of the hurdles that we leaped over years prior. And we're so focused on the next greatest thing that we don't slow down long enough to appreciate the great that's going on right now.
I was talking to a fan, which in and of itself is amazing. I don't understand how I have fans because I'm so mediocre. But, he was like, man, you've done so much in this, that, and the third. And I was like, I don't see it. And my wife was like, what do you mean you don't see it? See, that's your problem. And I said, what do you mean? She says, you are so busy being hungry that you never stop to eat. And I was like, have you looked at me? I eat. But what she was saying was absolutely true, and it ministered to my soul. Like, I'm so busy off to the next thing. It was like the only time I think I stopped down was when I got the Forbes thing. When I got the Forbes thing, I stopped down. I bared my soul. I stopped to take a look at it because the same day I got Forbes was the same way iHeartRadio added me to their lineup.